I mean, I think with Kevin Durant, he's one of the unique players who can come back and fit himself. But I do wonder how much other guys are affected with chemistry. Like, it does take others time to adjust to him, I'm sure.
As you were mentioning, with all of these teams, we could talk about who's not playing for them. And it does feel like that's going to be the race in these last, 16 to 20 games, is who can stay healthy and be equipped, who could be most healthy going into the playoffs, because so many of them are just one injury away from being a radically different team. And that unfortunately hit Phoenix. They lost Durant on just a bizarre turn of events. For it to not even be happening in a game, and to be happening in a layup line where everybody's just kind of going through the motions and getting warm for the game. Twist his ankle badly enough that he's out multiple weeks, and they even used the reevaluated word when they put the 3-week timeline on it. And as you said, you mentioned in passing, the damn same thing happened in warmups tonight with Kuminga. A twisted ankle, just the same. And that's 2 nights in a row. It's one thing to be these guys to be getting hurt, in the middle of games. We've had 2 twisted ankles in warmups going into these games. This is
crazy.
Bad news for Phoenix, who lost some depth, obviously, with making the trade. I mean, it goes without saying, they need healthy Kevin Durant by the time it comes playoff time. But they also need him in these last 15 to 20 just to be able to hold on to a spot where they're not having to play the best of the best when it comes, or even hold on to, not being in a play-in. I know that sounds crazy, but everything is so tight that if you don't play good basketball, you can have a 3-game losing streak easy, and then you're looking at a different whole set of problems in the standings. What do you make of Durant being out? How will they be able to, stay afloat, be 500, a little over 500 without him, or are they dead without him?
No, I think they'll be okay. I mean, they're 4-2 since the deadline without Kevin Durant, 3-0 with him. I mean, Devin Booker is still playing at an absurd level. I think overall, like, you're just going to lean on Booker more. You're going to lean on Ayton more, like you were prior to the deadline with the really impressive stretch that he was having. Other guys are going to have to step up. Chris Paul is going to have more good performances like he did last night against the Thunder. You got Terrence Ross coming off the bench, a guy who went off for 24 points. We talked about it on the Tuesday live show, how many opportunities Wainwright got, Okogie got. Well, it was Terrence Ross on Wednesday night. And sometimes the ball is going to find that guy for a lot of open opportunities. So I think, obviously, like, no duh, like, you lose Kevin Durant, it hurts your team. But I think the Phoenix Suns are going to be absolutely fine over the next 2 to 3 weeks without him. But they are only up 3.5 on the play-in. I don't see them falling that far. They're 3 up on the 5 seed. Maybe they slip down 1 spot, but I'd expect them to maintain their spot at 4. Just looking up at their upcoming schedule, it's not like for them they have like this extremely long road trip or anything like that. They have some difficult games because every team has difficult games, but I don't feel like their schedule necessarily is disadvantageous to them.
Give me you got it pulled up. Give me the next, what they're going to deal with right now.
They got Kings at home, Warriors on the road, Bucks at home, Magic at home, then 3-game road trip, Thunder, Lakers, Kings, and then Sixers at home.
That sounds pretty tough to me, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, there's some tough games.
They are not going to be
sure.
Okay.
So you
with
think
Josh
they lose a
Okogie
lot
and
of
Ish
those?
Wainwright?
They can win some of those. I mean, they like, what do they have to do? Go 500 or slightly above 500? I think they can go 500
in those games.
Yeah.
I mean, they really lost. You're really counting on some. I mean, you watch the Dallas game that just happened a couple days ago. You see when they're playing somebody that's got some offensive firepower, like that was Durant and Booker in tandem going for 70-something points together. I mean, Durant's as good as it gets, but I mean, you don't have not much depth. You're counting a lot on DeAndre Ayton to put up real scoring numbers for you, too.
I mean, they can win that Warriors game. Magic, Thunder.
At Warriors?
Yeah. Monday night?
I mean, I just sure. Look, the Warriors, as terrible as they've been on the road, they've been brilliant
awesome at home.
Yeah. They've been great at home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they could fall back a little bit.
But what I'm saying is like, that also means the Clippers and the Warriors or the Wolves or the Mavericks need to be winning.
Yeah.
So like two things need to happen. The Suns might go slightly below 500, but that also means that the Clippers need to go much better than above 500. The Warriors need to be much better than above 500. So I think I just don't know if those two things will both happen. The Mavericks are sliding.
That's fair.
They're one of the worst teams in the last 10 games. The Wolves have been about average. The Warriors have been average. The Clippers have been average. I don't know if, I mean, really the only team, like they're
you
too
might
far
be right.
back.
They might have to completely fall on their face.
For sure, which maybe, like you never know. Things like that could happen. I just don't see that totally happening. Whereas like the Lakers right now, they're 5 back. They have the number 1 defense in the NBA since the trade deadline. But 5 is too much. Like you're not getting all the way up to 4. The Lakers, their hope is getting to 5, not to 4.
Fair to say they have to have him back for the playoffs.
Oh,
and
totally.
then if you do, if you do get him back, it's kind of a regardless of seed. But that's it's hanging out there. We don't know. 3 weeks puts it right at, towards the end of the regular season. And so what you're hoping is that you've got him available for the postseason.
Yeah, dude.
If you do, crazy. You're a dangerous, possible not home court advantage team.
I mean, let's say it is 3 weeks, which would mean he comes back the 31st against Denver. That would leave only 6 games remaining in the season.
And that could be comes back then.
Yes, and that includes a back-to-back. So theoretically, he could only have 8 or 9 games with the Suns before the playoffs begin.
And he just got back from the knee.
Yeah, and he was amazing right away. So, like, that's the encouraging thing where he looked like Kevin Durant right away. Still dominant force overall on both ends. He looked like an MVP candidate just like he was prior to the injury in January with the Nets, right? Like, he was top 5 on my MVP ballot at that time he got injured. He looked like that same guy when he returned. So, I mean, I think with Kevin Durant, he's one of the unique players who can come back and fit himself. But I do wonder how much other guys are affected with chemistry. Like, it does take others time to adjust to him, I'm sure. But I don't know. It did look seamless. But then again, it was the Hornets, Bulls, and Mavs. So,
it's going to be a little different when somebody runs to a Devin Booker and he's throwing it, down to Josh Okogie, as you said.
Yeah, and the 3 teams they face, Hornets, Bulls, and Mavs, those aren't exactly the type of defenses you're going to be facing in April, May, and June.